You ready? You recording?
I am recording. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, should we jump into it then?
I think we should.
Okay.
Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. It's called Culture Bucket. Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. Culture Bucket, Georgia and Alex.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to your favourite podcast in all of the world. It's Culture Bucket, episode number 57.
Yeah, 57.
Not an important number, but an important episode because it marks the end of the second year of the life of Culture Bucket as we come to the end of 2021. The first full year, because Culture Bucket started in the summer.
Of
So
2020. Yeah.
summer 2020. So we had like a bit of 2020, and then we did a full. So this is our first full year of doing Culture Bucket. Incredible scenes.
Incredible.
So we're going to do similar to how we ended last year. We're going to do the best of 2021. We're going to talk about the pop culture of the past year and the things in it we liked the best. We've got some lists from listeners to share with you as well. And then we're going to look into the future. I'm going to take out my crystal ball, which is called typing movies of 2022 into Google and reading the results.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you what I found in there. And that's exciting, but I can't do it on my own, of course. I've got my co-host with me, Alex. Hi.
Hi, George. Hi, everyone. How you doing, George?
Hey. Pretty good. I'm within spitting distance of the Christmas holiday for me. I've got 2 more days of work and then I'm done.
Nice.
So, I can't wait to be free.
I
Big
feel
Simba said that
exactly the
once.
same.
And yeah, I had my third COVID booster jab thing the other day, and I just about feel better again after it, so that's lovely.
That's
Please
nice.
make sure you get your jab and protect people. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to have mine in 3 hours. So I'm going to be in Super
3
Saiyan
hours.
mode. Ta-da! Super
Good.
Saiyan.
But yeah, let's jump in. We're going to kick off with a little look into the future, just to give you a tease of what's coming at the end of the episode. Alex and I have got a MyTube for each other, some trailers for some of next year's big events. I think Alex is going to be a bigger event than mine, but mine is cooler. So,
Okay.
actually, mine's a Netflix movie, so it's not really cool. But yeah, so who's going to go first, Alex?
You can go first.
Yes, good. That's what I wanted you to say. Okay, have you got that?
Yes. Okay.
Let me know when you're ready to press play.
So I've got a trailer. It says The House. Oh, is it horror?
I don't know. You can tell me
Okay.
whether you think it's a
So
horror.
is The House
or not.
official trailer Netflix. And the first shot is incredible, by the way. Like, just having this as a shot is just a house over water whilst everything else is underwater. I like it.
Yeah,
Oh, it's an
it's interesting.
animation.
It is. What, have you started?
No. I've just got the first
okay.
thing. So yeah, we can start now.
Right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hi, darling.
Ugh.
It's the biggest day of my life today.
Why do you always like weird things?
If you could be thinking,
That face is horrific. Oh,
maybe say little Pratt. Here we are.
George.
Come
Oh,
on.
look at that face. He's got tiny eyes and a tiny nose and a massive face.
You're talking about me or are you talking about the video?
The video. The cats are cute. Do like type in Google weirdest films I could possibly watch.
No, it just popped up on my Facebook.
Yeah, of course, it popped up on your Facebook. Look at that.
Facebook knows me.
Do you not think that face is terrifying? The face of the
It's weird.
humans?
It's definitely weird.
It's confusing, yeah.
It is confusing. It just said, it's confusing, yeah. It's like, yeah, it is. It's so much stuff happening.
Christ, that was quick.
So there are animals, cats, rats, people, all in the same house?
Well,
Oh.
I think it's 3 separate stories, and they're in one of the stories all the characters are mice, in one of them they're all cats, and in another they're all humans.
But
So
they
it's like
all
an
live in the
anthology
same
film.
house.
They all live in the house, but it's saying it's 3 different time periods or something.
Oh, it just horrible. The humans' faces are horrible. Well,
What do you think of that?
yeah, looks okay.
You got to admit, a lot of the shots look very good. Like,
yeah, oh
in
no, it
terms
looks
of, like,
beautiful, but I'm terrified about those people.
But it's just the design of them. They're not like doing scary things.
Do you not think sometimes like design of something could be really creepy and creep you out? Every
No,
time?
definitely. Like the Alien in Alien, for example, is a good example. Of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
And they are weird. They have weird faces,
Interesting.
scary faces.
So it's a Netflix
right,
film.
What? It's a Netflix film. It's called The House. It's coming out in, I think, January, maybe January 14th. 3 separate stories directed by 3 different directors, but all about this one house.
Wow.
And I think set in the UK. The voices all sounded British
yeah,
to me. In that
yeah. I
trailer.
think there's some British actors, like famous ones.
Yeah, and I don't know. I love stop motion animation. I really love stop motion animation.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you a trailer now of a film.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Okay.
So I put off watching this trailer for like maybe a few hours because I was like, I don't want. Then I thought I'll watch it, and then I watched it, and I got really excited about it because I think it's silly enough to be enjoyable. Like, I love Sandra Bullock, I love Channing Tatum. You know, Daniel Radcliffe is out of his comfort zone, so maybe I don't know. I feel maybe I don't know. Let's check it out. It's yeah.
Yeah.
Have you received it?
Okay. Yes, it's a trailer for the film The Lost City, which, as you just mentioned, has got Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum in it, who are both great. So, and I haven't seen this trailer yet, so let's check it out.
Cool.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, good. 3, 2, 1, and going.
You led me straight to the lost city. Now, prepare to die.
There are just hundreds of snakes in this temple just waiting for us to show up.
What?
Sandra Bullock's a writer.
Yes.
Listen, Loretta, we need you to promote your new book on the lost
The Lost City of D.
life in the bathtub, drinking Chardonnay with
It's
ice.
very funny.
Is missing.
I'm gonna rescue her. I just
Daniel
want her to
Radcliffe is
think
a
of me as more than a cover model.
funny guy,
Yeah.
I think. He's capable of being pretty funny.
We're here to save you. I'm certified CPR. I'm certified.
Jungles eat people like us.
What is that? Get it off. I can feel
Leeches.
like a bandit.
Leeches make me feel awful.
Holy Mother of God.
That looks pretty. That looks like a fun time.
Like, I
like it.
think it's silly enough to be fun. Like, it
Yeah,
doesn't take
yeah.
itself seriously at all.
Definitely.
And the fact that there is Brad Pitt in it. That's pretty amazing. And also, like, I love Channing Tatum. I just had a thought, actually. Sandra Bullock, I think, is the only actress that always has like a lot of the times now her male in like her love interest is younger
Yeah.
than her,
That's true.
which is interesting because usually like they get, you know, a much younger person, but she's so like established and everything that I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, she's amazing. So
Yeah.
yeah,
She can do whatever she wants. What do you think?
she literally
of-
anything she wants. It looks.
Lost
I love a good adventure movie. I even like, despite my distaste for Dwayne Johnson and Jack Whitehall, I enjoyed Jungle Cruise this year. So an adventure movie featuring two actors that I actually really like. Yeah, good. Go. Yeah, let's do it, please. I'm all for it. I think it's inspired by a movie I've never seen, which I probably should watch, called Romancing the Stone. Have you seen?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've seen it. It's about
Yeah.
that with
Kathleen Turner and Michael
and
Douglas.
Michael Douglas, yeah.
Okay, should we do some of our lists?
Yeah.
Yes, good.
It's the best of 2021. The best of 2021. Oh, it was a year, a crazy year. So much happened. Movies, films, they're the same thing. Albums, songs. You find songs on albums. Oh, yeah. What a year. What a year was 2021. Oh, yeah. What a year. There were also video games. Oh, and TV as well. Thank you.
I didn't
Yes.
put mine as a top. Maybe I'll tell like the bottom and the top. I didn't put them in numbers. It was too hard.
That's absolutely fine. So, do you want to start?
Yes. Shall we start
Cool, so-
with films?
Yeah.
Okay. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, I do have a top 10. So this year, 2021, has been a great year for Marvel movies. And so
Oh,
I
yes, it
have
has.
3 Marvel movies. And probably the only Marvel movies they released this year. Or maybe they released more, but I'm not really
No,
sure.
they released 4 Marvel movies this year.
And I've got 3 of them on here. Which one is the
have
fourth one?
Well, I don't know what 3 you've got on there, but
Okay,
maybe
so
Black
I've got
Widow, probably.
my top Marvel films. I'm going to put them together.
Okay.
So in last position is Shang-Chi. Loved Shang-Chi, but it's not
Yep.
as good as Eternals, and Eternals is not as freaking amazing as Spider-Man: No Way Home.
But Alex, I distinctly remember you saying that you didn't like Spider-Man movies.
Well, basically, I completely changed my mind. I I love Spider-Man now. So well, so I didn't really like Homecoming. So I watched
No,
the
I know.
first.
I've been very frustrated at you about that before.
So I watched the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans, and I liked them. But then when the Marvel movies came out, well, when like the Marvel universe started forming, I realized that they weren't as good. And then I never watched the Andrew Garfield ones. Just a moment. Then after years of like putting Spider-Man off, and then I watched Homecoming, which I didn't particularly like. But then this was coming out and people were going crazy about it, and I decided not to read anything, and then I decided to also watch Long Way Home, which I absolutely loved. I loved.
Far from home.
Oh yeah, Far From Home. Far From Home. So I absolutely loved Far From Home. It was so good. It was like 2 hours just like flew by. I had a great time. Jake Gyllenhaal is an incredible villain. It's just so many little plot twists and who is that? I love the fact that, you know, which is reality. And so then I got really excited about this one, which I went to see before you saw it. And I was so excited. And I watched Spider-Man No Way Home. And I haven't had an experience at the cinema like that forever. Like I'm not going to spoil it because I think everybody should watch this film, but when certain things happen, or should we spoil it? I don't know.
No. We
Let's
can't
not
spoil it
spoil
because
it.
this episode's coming out too close to the film
Okay.
release.
So when certain things happen, literally the cinema roared and clapped and laughed and cried. Like there was such a incredible vibe in the cinema. And although I haven't had the love for Spider-Man that other people have had, I felt the emotion of like certain things happening. And it was so good. And 2.5 hours just basically like flew by, and it was beautiful. And I loved it. So I eat my words. I can change my mind sometimes. I definitely don't like Homecoming, but
It's interesting because most people would say Homecoming is better than Far From Home.
No, I don't know.
That's generally the perception. I prefer Far From Home as well. I just love Jake Gyllenhaal so much that movie does a lot for me.
But I feel also Tom Holland comes into himself as Spider-Man and Peter Parker in Far From Home. I feel, in my opinion, and then Ned,
that's fine.
I think Ned is really funny in Far From Home. Zendaya is really, like, I love Zendaya in Far From Home. So I think there's the characters around Peter become better as well. So I think the film becomes better.
No, that's fair. And MJ and Ned are so good in No Way Home as well.
Oh my God, No Way Home. I cried. I laughed. I clapped. It was, what a film.
Did you like, without spoiling it? There's a lot of moments in the film that were pretty well hidden or not so well hidden, etc. Like, how much, like, in terms of returning characters from older things, what did you know was probably going to happen, and what was like a complete surprise again? Or was anything a complete surprise without spoiling it, which is a difficult thing to do?
The villains were not a surprise.
Yeah.
The rest was totally, because I don't read anything about anything.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I had no clue.
Yeah.
And then when one thing happens, Ned does something, and then something happens, I was like, what the and then when they do it again and something else happens, like, what? How? I was so excited.
Yeah.
And I like the relationship between certain characters. We have to talk about it again in January when everybody has watched it, because it's so
maybe when everyone's watched it, we should do a special on it, because I have a lot of thoughts.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun, and they kept it really well sealed up. Like, I knew there was some kind of, the thing is that there were some rumors, but I totally did not believe those rumors because things. So I was totally surprised.
Yeah,
and I think they did really well at keeping everything bottled up. But yeah, that was really good.
What about early on? There's early on, before any of the multiverse stuff starts happening. There's a surprise moment, like very early on, regarding when Peter's trying to get out of his legal problems. What did you think of that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
There's a character that you wouldn't necessarily have expected to see.
Oh yeah. That was the first. That was the first. No. Yeah.
yeah.
That was the first one.
For someone who hasn't seen it, that's probably already saying too much. So we shouldn't. Go too high.
Yeah, but just so good.
You should give the Tobey Maguire movies another go, because I watched them in the past couple of weeks, and I think they're like still the first two are better than most of the Marvel movies that we get now.
Okay.
Like Willem Dafoe in that first movie and Alfred Molina in that second movie are so incredible as villains.
Willem Dafoe he's a spectacular actor. Like
he's so good in No Way Home. He's so perfect.
Good. And I feel like he gave much more. Like, I was at one point, I was like, this is the Willem Dafoe I want. I don't want, like, I know we talked about The Lighthouse before, but this is good acting for me from Willem Dafoe. I thought that was so spectacular. I don't know. He's so good.
Yeah. And apparently he's like 67, and he insisted on doing as much of the practical stunt stuff as he could by himself, which is amazing.
And you could see he loved every single moment in it. But what I loved about this film, I feel there was so much love behind this film. Love and I don't know. There was so much. I think people that acted in this film were so happy to be in it in a way. You could feel it.
Yeah.
And it was lovely. It was really lovely.
Yeah.
And then it made sense. And people that write these Marvel movies they have got crazy minds. Because in a way, now I want to watch. I'm gonna go back, and that's what I thought. I want to go back and watch the older movies, and I would like to watch. I would like to give, maybe all the Spider-Mans more of a.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know
Over.
what you make of the Andrew Garfield ones. I think they were very criticised when they came out, and I rewatched them recently, and I think they're better than.
Yeah.
And he is amazing in them. He's such a good Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield. It's a pity he only got those 2 films.
Only 2.
To show himself.
It wasn't a trilogy.
No, it was 2, and then the second one was such a sort of bomb that they didn't make anymore.
Oh,
And it was very quickly after that they were like, Tom Holland's here, everyone, look at Tom Holland, forget about Andrew Garfield.
yeah.
And it really felt like Andrew Garfield got sort of shoved to the side, which is a pity because he's a great actor. He's better than the movies he's in, but the movies he's in, and that second one has got a lot of interesting, strange ideas in it. Like there's a bit where Electro is bouncing around all these pylons in a power station to the tune of Itsy Bitsy Spider. Like it's such a weird, it's such a weird movie. It's got such an odd sense to it that you wouldn't get in an MCU movie. Like the MCU movies, as much as I love them, are very like, they don't have much of their own voice quite often. They're very like part of the machine. Whereas the Amazing Spider-Man 2 feels like it's just sort of this odd, rubbery, mad thing that doesn't completely work, but I appreciate the sort of swings it takes. But yeah, anyway, Spider-Man: No Way Home is a good pick.
Yeah,
good
so
pick for your list.
Great year for Marvel movies, and I absolutely loved Eternals. I could watch it again. I'm going to watch it again. I don't know why they got so much bad press, bad reviews, because it's so good. Like, I loved Eternals. I loved the characters in them. It was great. And Shang-Chi is amazing. So good. And Aquafina is definitely, if we do another top 10 actors, she's going to be there.
Yeah,
she's
Aquafina's
so
great in
incredible.
everything I've seen her in. Yeah.
Yeah. And in Shang-Chi, she kind of brings like the comedy side, but also, I don't know, she's amazing. And then, so that's a 3. And then I'm just in no particular order. On my top, I've got June. Of course, we talked about it.
Yep.
I absolutely love that film. And then Pig. Again, we've talked about it. Incredible film. Then The French Dispatch, a new Wes Anderson film, which I absolutely adored. I went to see at the cinema twice because the first time I was because this film is quite a lot, isn't it? And so the first time I was so like distracted in trying to understand what was going on. And then the second time I relaxed and I just enjoyed the experience and it was beautiful. Like the second time was so much fun. Even the film is kind of divided in parts and the last part is a bit, the first time you watch it, you kind of have to understand what's going on. And then the second time, it was just so much fun to watch because it's so silly. Oh, I loved it. Yeah. And then Summer of Soul, the Questlove film about the festival. Beautiful film. Really loved it. White Tiger, which I recommended watching.
Yes.
Really great film. It's on Netflix if anybody wants to watch. It's an incredible film. Animation, I really liked Luca, and Judas and the Black Messiah. The film with what's his name?
Daniel Kaluuya.
Yeah, Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield. But yeah, so that's my top films of the year. I think they're great, and I cannot tell which one was my favorite. I got really excited at Spider-Man, and also it was the first day that came out, so I think that was very good. But I think it's been a good year in films. There's a hard list to make. How about you?
Definitely. Similar feelings in terms of it being a really good year for movies. I mean, I've seen a lot of films this year, and whittling it down to a top 10 was tricky. And tomorrow it could look very different, but today...
Why tomorrow? What are you going to watch today?
No, I mean, in terms of like, tomorrow I might look at the list again and think, oh no, this should have been on there. Like the Mitchells versus the Machines that I watched really early on in the year, I'd have thought would have been in my top 10.
Yeah.
And it's a great film, I really love it, but there's so many good movies this year that it's not. What is in my top 10 though, and I have done it sort of ranked, is number 10, I've got In the Earth, this year's Ben Wheatley folk horror movie.
Oh, yeah.
With Reece Shearsmith. Absolutely, I just love that film, and I caught COVID probably while I was watching it, which is makes it even more memorable. Look after yourselves, everyone. Number 9 is this year's most nostalgic film, despite Spider-Man No Way Home doing such a big effort to take that crown, in Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Oh, I need to watch that. Is it good?
Yeah, it's very. I really liked it. It's film. It's not. No, I mean I loved it. I think I gave it 5 stars. I really liked it, but a lot of people didn't like it, and it had this weird thing where it got a lot of like 5-star, 4-star reviews, and then places like The Guardian gave it 1 star and was just like, oh, it's just a nostalgia fest. And it does sort of boil down to kind of taking the story of the original Ghostbusters movie, doing it again, but infusing it with a Stranger Things sensibility.
Oh, sounds nice.
It's got a very Stranger Things vibe to it, not just in the fact that it's got Finn Wolfhard in it, who is in Stranger Things, who isn't in it as much as you'd expect actually, but McKenna Grace playing Egon Spengler's granddaughter is the standout star of the movie. She's so good in it, and Paul Rudd is very funny in it, and I really loved it. I think the very final 15 minutes threatened to buckle under the weight of all the sudden callbacks that they decide to make, but it works. It worked for me. It won't work for everyone. In at number 8 is my favourite. It's surprising it's in at number 8 because I'm such a big horror nerd, but my favourite horror movie of the year comes in at number 8 on my top 10 films list, and it is James Wan's *Malignant*.
Oh.
Yeah, which you remember I showed you the trailer for, and you said it looked flat.
I do say that.
Which is fine. It's so much more than what it looked like in that trailer, and people still won't have seen it, so I'm not going to spoil it. But it's got a twist that had me laughing harder than I've laughed at anything in the cinema this year. I think it's got one particular shot, and if you've seen the movie, you'll know which bit I mean, where it reveals what's been going on the whole time. And when you realise what's been going on the whole time, the only response you can have is to just lose your mind because it's such an audacious idea. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. *Malignant*. It's just one of the strangest movies to get a big release this year. From a director who's making the Aquaman sequel that's coming out next year, and I loved *Malignant*. It was great. In at number 7 is a film that I hope gets a lot of discussion as the Oscars start to come around, because its lead actor needs to win the Best Actor Oscar, and it is the Will Smith starring King Richard, the biopic of Richard Williams, who raised the Venus and Serena Williams to become the greatest tennis players of all time. I don't like tennis, and I found what I knew of the Richard Williams story made me think that he was kind of a terrible man, because I didn't like the sound. The idea that he kind of raised his children into being these tennis superstars. It almost sounds abusive to a certain degree, in terms of like, did they have any agency over what they did in their life? But they produced the movie, so they clearly love him for what he did to. What he devoted his life to doing, which is making them successful. And when you watch the movie, I guess you can kind of see the world that he lived in, the world he came from. He wanted to give his children a better life than what he'd grown up with, and if that required the kind of in just mad dedication that he gave, maybe that was worth it. But it's a complex thing where I can't say that I totally agree that it was. And it's a world that's so far outside my own world that I don't know if I'm not even qualified to say. But in terms of a film and a story, it's amazing. And I never imagined that a tennis film would be ranked above any horror movie in my top 10 of the year. But it's such a good film. And Will Smith is, every scene he's in, he's amazing. I mean, he's been a world famous actor for years, but he's never had too much respect as an actor. And I really think he deserves big recognition for this film. It's great. And you should watch it.
I will. It hasn't come out here, so there's only like a bunch of movies that I can watch when they come out, and it hasn't.
If it gets Oscar buzz, I bet it'll come out if it gets Oscar stuff. I imagine.
Yeah,
will it?
definitely.
Yeah. So hopefully,
but like
hopefully
for example, in the cinema one of the cinemas that I go to watch original language films, they've had The French Dispatch for 2 months now. Like crazy.
That makes it easier for you to watch The French Dispatch than for me, which is interesting. But yeah.
Yeah.
Because I had to travel not that far, but like it wasn't showing in the cinema I normally go to. I had to go to a different cinema and stuff to see The French Dispatch. But anyway, in at number 6, I've got the ode to responsible drinking, Another Round, the Mads
I
Mikkelsen
need to watch that.
movie. Which again just it's a movie about a group of friends who decide to test out a hypothesis that living your life constantly with a bit of alcohol in your bloodstream can improve your life, improve how you do, and improve your performance. And it doesn't shy away from showing the negative effects that could have on somebody, but it also doesn't shy away from the fact that there's a reason that alcohol is such a big part of society, and that it is a lubricant to social harmony and also social discord. It's a complex issue, and it's a film that treats it with the complexity it deserves, and it's great. And it's got, in terms of my favourite final scenes of the year, Another Round is in at number 1. There's a scene at the end of this film that had me almost floating in how amazed I was at what was going on. So yeah, that's great. In my top 5 is a very new entry in the list, a film that only just came out, West Side Story, Steven Spielberg's remake of a film that I've never seen, a musical that I've never heard before. I went to see this film simply because it was the new Steven Spielberg movie, and I knew it had gotten good reviews. And I, for the first 20 minutes, I was a bit like, I'm not going to enjoy this. I don't like these songs very much, and this is a bit rubbish. And then by the end, I'd cried about 4 times, and it absolutely tore me apart. This movie is so good, and it's flopped. It's been a huge failure, which is such a disappointment. Yeah, musicals. This is not the year of musicals. In the Heights, Dear Evan Hansen, West Side Story, they've all really massively underperformed. But please go and see it. Get yourself out there to watch it. It's such a great classic film. Like Steven Spielberg can. I mean, there's a reason that if you say Spielberg, there's only one person anyone thinks of. Like, he is the absolute master. In at number 4 is a movie we've talked about a lot. Go and listen to our special on it if you would like to hear more. The Nicolas Cage film Pig.
Yeah.
Yeah, such a great film. In at number 3, a movie that was my number 1 until very recently, No Time to Die, this year's James Bond movie, Daniel Craig's last turn at the bat, and a film that I adore and love and is great, and you should watch it. In at number 2 is a film, again, that we've talked about very recently on the podcast, so go and listen to it, our episode on it if you'd like to hear more. Dune. Timothée Chalamet and Rebecca Ferguson and Oscar Isaac and all the actors you love, running around in the desert and just being great. So yeah, Dune is just phenomenal. Love it. And in at number 1, there could be an element of recency bias to this because maybe if I watch it again or maybe in a year I won't like it as much, but I don't think that's true. It absolutely destroyed me and made me I'd love everything again. That I just is Spider-Man No Way Home is my number 1 film of the year. And it's crazy. I love Spider-Man more than you. In the past I went to see Tobey Maguire's first Spider-Man movie in 2002 at a cinema in Didsbury, near where I live, in Manchester. And then a couple of days ago, I went to the exact same cinema to watch the new Spider-Man movie that had the same villain in it, played by the same actor, Willem Dafoe. And it felt like such a full circle moment that really, in a really nerdy, pathetic way that people would think I'm an idiot for, really kind of got to me. And then I in the run up to seeing it, I rewatched all 7 live action Spider-Man movies, so the 3 Tobey Maguire ones, the 2 Andrew Garfield ones, and the 2 Tom Holland ones leading up to this. And going into it with all of that so close and recent in my mind, just made so many moments in this one just destroy me. And like similar to your audience, there were so many moments in this film that made the audience absolutely lose their minds and start cheering and clapping and crying. And it was the best experience I've had in the cinema since we all saw The Mist together in Japan.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I think that was very very similar experience.
Yeah, and because I saw Avengers Endgame in the cinema, and at the end of that film, all of the audience cheered and clapped. But it didn't feel. It was more of a sort of like with Avengers Endgame, it was great. but you expected there to be amazing things in it, and I don't think there was anything quite as surprising as some of the moments in No Way Home. No Way Home was
amazing.
There's one, and I can't talk about it because it's a spoiler, but there's one particular moment in No Way Home that I keep thinking about. It's like 3 or 4 days now since I saw the movie, and I still get emotional when I think about it, which is pathetic, but very true. So yeah, Spider-Man
What
No Way
moment
Home
is it? I'll cut it out.
It's where... But you have to cut all of this out. Please make sure you cut it out because people
absolutely.
will be furious.
Yeah.
So that is our top films of the year. Let's go to, what do you want to do next? Albums or TV shows?
Shall we do TV shows?
Yeah, let's do TV shows. So do you want to start? Do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, it's been another awesome... it's been a good year all through. Like, it's been amazing films and TV shows and music. Crazy. It's been great. I haven't done a top 10, but I've got 10... Well, I'm not putting any number because
that's okay.
It's Christmas.
We have our own ways of doing things.
Okay, so I'm gonna start from WandaVision. WandaVision, great series this year. It started brilliantly. Maybe the ending is not as good as it started, but I thought it was a really good concept about Scarlet Witch and Vision. Really good Disney Plus series, and then Feel Good, the Mae Marvin TV series on Netflix, season 2. I thought it was great. It kind of focused more on PTSD and mental health and how Mae dealt with things in why Mae was like Mae because of like things that happened in her past and how we don't really consider those. So I think Feel Good season 2 is great. Did you watch it in the end?
No, I haven't watched it. I think I will. I really like Charlotte Ritchie, so I will.
Yeah,
I think to it. There's just so much, Alex.
I know there's so much. There's so much. And also another season 2, Never Have I Ever. I have spoken about it. This coming of age kind of high school TV series. Season 2 is really great because it tackles a lot of like things that maybe confuse kids and teenagers in general, and you haven't watched that, but I have recommended it. Yes, and then 2 Japanese series. One is The Naked Director season 2 about about a famous Japanese porn director. Great season, really fun. It kind of is like the rise and fall of one of the biggest porn directors in Japan. Really fun series, also on Netflix, and I think is great. And anime, Attack on Titan season 4 part 1. We're still waiting for part 2, but we've spoken about Attack on Titan before. A great anime, and we've been waiting for years for it to end. And I thought it was going to end with this, but it's a great start to the end of Attack on Titan. It kind of starts explaining more what are the Titans, who are the Titans, why are the Titans. It's crazy. And I think, George, if you should start watching again, because
I know, but I'm going to have to watch it from the start again.
Yeah,
it's a
absolutely.
commitment, so I will get there.
Yeah, because it's in the 4th season, the world expands and it just becomes this crazy roller coaster that you can't even imagine. It's beautiful. But I wanted to finish because I really want to know what's going to happen. And then 3 series that we have talked about before. And so Kevin Kneff himself, great series this year.
Loved it.
Like a sitcom / drama TV series all in one. Fantastic. Really innovative way of doing a TV program. It's been very good this year with innovation, like WandaVision. It's a really innovative way to like make a series. You would think when you were talking about Kevin Kneff himself, I thought that was on that line, but then it's totally different. Oh, it's
Yeah,
so good. And then The White Lotus, great season.
absolutely.
We did a special on it. I could talk
Yeah.
about it. I still think about it. I still love it. Oh, it's just amazing. And for me, the season of the year is Sex Education season 3. I
Oh,
loved every single moment of that season. It's
yeah,
beautiful, well written, well acted. It's great, and we've talked about it before. It's so good, Sex Education, and season 3 even got better. Like
yeah.
it's amazing how a series can get better and better and better, and they did it. It got weirder, better, and I loved it. So yeah,
Yep.
great year for TV shows.
Yeah, it was a great year for TV shows because I loved that third season of Sex Education, but it's not in my top 10, I've just realised, which is something. Okay. So
Yeah.
my top 10, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, as usual, I've ranked it because I'm sort of obsessive in that way. So in at my number 10 is one you've just mentioned, the Marvel show WandaVision. Um, is only at number 10 because I adored the first 2/3 of this, and then when it sort of put its cards on the table and said, right, we have to become a Marvel thing now, it lost me a little bit because I wanted it to be weird and strange
Yeah.
all the way up to the end, and I get why it wasn't, and you know, I think some people probably preferred it at the point that I stopped liking it as much, but it is great. Elizabeth Olsen does some of the best work of that we've seen this year from any actor in it, and yeah, it's a good show. In at number 9 is a show that I've not seen all of yet because it's currently on and will run into the new year, but I've enjoyed what I've seen of it so much that I've put it in at number 9. A show called Yellow Jackets.
Okay.
Have you heard of it?
No.
So it's an American drama, like each episode's 50 minutes long or so. It's part of it is set in the 90s, about a American girls soccer team in high school. They get into the national finals, and while they are travelling to the finals, the plane they are on crashes in, I think, the Canadian wilderness, and they are trapped there for 19 months, and it's about their attempts to survive. In a sort of gender-flipped Lord of the Flies is how people have sort of, you know, the kind of selling catchphrase for it. And then the other half of the show is set in present day and is following the survivors, the women who survived, as they kind of reckon with what they did in the woods in the 90s that nobody yet knows about. And those adult characters are played by some beloved actors. 2 of them who lead it are Juliette Lewis and Christina
Amazing.
Ricci.
What?
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah,
Where
and-
do you watch it?
So I'm currently watching it on Now TV, which is the Sky streaming service we have. So whatever you stream Sky
Oh.
things on might
Okay, I'm gonna check it
might
out.
have it. Be forewarned, it's not really horror, but it's got a mean, cruel, nasty streak running through it. And there is a scene of violence in the very first episode that almost had me in tears. It's so upsetting to watch something happen. It's just like a sporting accident. It's not like a stabbing or anything, but it's really brutal. The pilot was directed by Karen Kusama, who made The Invitation, a movie that we disagree strongly on. But yeah, I think you'd enjoy it. I think you should check it out. But it's definitely got moments that will make you cringe. But it's really, really good. In at number 8 is a show that I wouldn't have imagined would be in my top 10, and certainly wouldn't have imagined I'd end up thinking it was better than WandaVision. And it hasn't all been on yet because the finale is on next Wednesday, but it has absolutely just blown me away at how good it is and how much I like it, considering my distaste for the character generally, is Hawkeye.
Oh, is it good?
The Hawkeye show is amazing. It's set at Christmas. It's like an action comedy series, and it's just brilliant. And it introduces Kate Bishop, who is the another character in the comics that takes on the mantle of Hawkeye and is a young woman as opposed to Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye, who's a sort of middle-aged man. And Kate Bishop is played by Hailey Steinfeld, who you know from True Grit.
Yeah,
And she's the star of, she's really the star of Hawkeye. There's whole like 20-minute, half an hour sequences in Hawkeye that don't have Jeremy Renner in them. and follow Kate Bishop, follow Hailey Steinfeld, and she is brilliant in it. And if they're going to bring her into the sort of Marvel world in a bigger way and have her be part of the next whatever the Avengers is, I can't wait for it, because she's just fantastic. And Jeremy Renner, to be fair to him, is brilliant in it as well. You know, Hawkeye never really worked for me in the Avengers because you've got like the Hulk and Thor and all these magic people, and it's a bit like, why is there a guy with a bow and arrow? Like, what's he doing? And it's Jeremy Renner, who's a bit of I'm not really a big fan of, but on his own, on this smaller scale story, he's kind of incredible, and they really do a lot to sort of show the toll that being amongst these super people physically has had on Clint Barton over the years. Like he's a sort of slightly broken, physically broken man at the point he is in Hawkeye. And then you've got as well Florence Pugh's Yelena from Black Widow turns up in Hawkeye. And the most recent episode I've seen of Hawkeye, she has an amazing scene with Hailey Steinfeld, which is one of the best scenes in anything all year. And it's just amazing. And then the 5th episode, which is the most recent episode, ended with a pretty amazing cliffhanger moment that people kind of guessed was coming, but to see it confirmed is pretty good. Almost in a Spider-Man No Way Home way of being like, oh my God, they're bringing that back. It's pretty good stuff. So you should check out Hawkeye, Alex. Is so much better than I ever imagined it would be. Vera Farmiga, who is in the Conjuring movies and loads of other things. Vera Farmiga, who's an amazing actress, plays Kate Bishop's mother in this. It's just so good. It's just so good. So yeah, Hawkeye. And then number 7 is my favourite Marvel show of the year, Loki, which again, character I don't really like. TV show was a blast. Really, really loved it.
I kept falling asleep.
Well,
Like I watched the first episode 3 times, and every time I fell asleep. Like I don't know what it is. It's got this soporific. It's very nice because I don't usually fall asleep very easily, but every time I put Loki on, it's like ugh. So I haven't been able to watch it. I might give it a go this Christmas.
Yeah, I don't quite understand it because I don't think it's whatever, each to their own. But I found it really fun and exciting and funny, and Owen Wilson does such good work. It's so great to see Owen Wilson in like a Marvel thing, and he's really good in it. And then the last, like the way that like everything that's happening now in the Marvel universe, the multiverse stuff, all sprung from what happens at the end of the first season of Loki. So you definitely should. It's so good. And like again, I don't mind Tom Hiddleston, but Loki is a character I've always been a bit bored of because it's very much like he'll turn up in a movie, he'll be like, "No, I'm good now. I'm going to help you," and then he'll be like, "Not really. I'm going to be annoying." And it's like, oh, okay, we get it. But then in the Loki show, he does good work, man. He's good in it. He's funny. He's interesting. You've got various different people popping up. Weird stuff happens. Richard E. Grant's in there for a bit. It's great. Really great. So yeah, that's in at number 7. In at number 6 of my favourite TV shows of the year, what will probably be, once all the dust has settled, the defining pop culture event of 2021, Squid Game.
I still haven't been able to finish it.
How come?
I watched an episode. I watched an episode with when they play the balls. What they're called in
Marbles.
Marbles. When they play marbles.
Yeah.
And I texted you and I was like, I am broken.
Yeah.
And then I managed to watch the next episode, and I was like, I find it so hard. It's incredible. I just find it really hard to watch. That's why I didn't put it. It's kind of like my honorable mention because it's amazing, but also heartbreaking. Like heartbreaking. The marble episode broke my heart.
Yeah, you should finish it though because there's some
I will.
stuff in the final couple of episodes that you should watch. But it's good, man. Squid Game's great. Everyone's watched it at this point, or watched as much of it as they can bear. And it's Squid Game. It's great, and I think they're going to make a second season of it. That's probably going to be not very good because it doesn't really lend itself naturally to having a second season. But never mind, they're going to do it anyway.
Know. It might be completely different.
Could be. In at number 5, The White Lotus, which you've talked about, which is great. We love it. In at number 4, another one you've talked about, Kevin Can F Himself. I loved it. I love sitcoms. I love comedy. I love deconstructing that thing. Like Kevin Can F Himself was designed for me. So I liked it. In at number 3, of course, is the second season of I Think You Should Leave, one of my favourite comedies ever, and that just any single 30-second moment from it will make me laugh. So it's on there. In at number 2, something that I didn't want to watch, had no interest in watching, watched an hour of and was bored by, and then by the end, some of my favourite things I've ever seen ever, and I think like a culturally and historically important, significant piece of work that anyone with a passing interest in music should watch, is Peter Jackson's epically long 8-hour documentary on the Beatles, Get Back. This, like, I have grown up telling people and saying forever that my favourite Beatle was George Harrison. I like the songs he wrote for the Beatles the best. And then I watched Get Back, and now I'm a Paul McCartney fan. I adore Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney is a man who over the years has morphed into something that a lot of people in the UK find quite irritating. But he is the coolest man in the room in Get Back. He is incredible in this series, and there's a moment in it where you see him write the song Get Back from out of like it just appears out of nowhere. And it's goosebumps watching him do that. And then it all builds to the famous rooftop concert, the last time they ever performed together as a group in public, and you see it in full, the full like 45-minute long concert. You see the whole thing. They set it up to have cameras on the roofs with them down on the street in the reception area, and you see it all play out. You see the people on the street getting annoyed or excited by the fact it's happening. You see the police turn up and battle to get up to the top of the roof and shut it down, and it's just one of the most amazing things ever. And like, people have seen that footage before, but seeing it after watching the 7 hours of footage following them in the days leading up to them making that decision to play on the roof and everything they did, and it just kind of makes it transcendental. It's such an amazing thing that Peter Jackson's done, and I loved it. I loved Get Back. I think it's one of the best things I've seen this year, but still pales in comparison to my number 1 TV event of the year I can't wait to watch it again. Mike Flanagan's Netflix show Midnight Mass.
I need to watch that.
It is without question my favourite TV show of the year. I absolutely fell in love with. I love Mike Flanagan. Like, he made The Haunting of Hill House. He did Doctor Sleep, Gerald's Game. Everything he's turned his hand to, pretty much, I've really enjoyed. But this is unlike anything I've seen him do before, and it's just so knotty and wordy and different, and even the nature of what it ends up being about, I don't want to talk about because it's such a fun thing to see it all play out. And it's sort of a bit slow. It takes a little bit of time to get going, but the 5th episode ends in a way that almost incredible. And then you've got the last couple of episodes are the 2 best episodes of TV I've seen this year, with some of the greatest moments, acting, everything. And I need to get it up because there's a character in the setup of Midnight Mass is it's set on this small island community. A character called Riley comes home after spending some time in prison for a drunk driving offence, and they're a very religious small community, and at the same time as Riley turning up, a new priest, Father Paul, arrives on the island because the island's usual priest has gone on a journey and has become ill on his way back, so they've been sent to Father Paul while the older priest recovers. And Father Paul is played by Hamish Linklater, an actor I've never seen in anything before, and even more than Will Smith, his performance of Father Paul in The Midnight Mass is the best performance I've seen in anything this year. He is incredible in Midnight Mass, and there are scenes that are like 5, 10, 50 minutes long of him giving sermons in church, and you cannot look away from him because he is so charismatic, and it's the best.
Sounds
it's
amazing.
The best. It's so good.
Is it quite scary? Or
no,
is it
like, and I'm not saying that in the way that sometimes I'll be like, no, it's not that scary, Alex, you should watch it. Like, it's got some violent moments, but I don't think it's scary at all.
Okay.
Genuinely, I don't think it's scary.
Okay.
It's got violent moments. It's got moments that will be upsetting to you because you care about the characters, and bad things happen to them. Like, bad things happen to people in Midnight Mass, but it's not scary, I don't think, at all.
That's why Squid Game breaks me, because bad things happen to the people I like, and it's like, I don't want.
Yeah, I know. I know,
Oh.
but Midnight Mass, you got to watch it. I think
Okay.
it's the most one of the best things I've seen this year. And I actually the first 2 or 3 episodes I was like, this is fine, and then by the end, yeah, so good. I loved Midnight Mass. If you do watch it, we should do a special on it because I want to talk about it forever. I just want to talk and talk and talk about Midnight Mass.
Okay.
Right, let's talk about music.
Yeah.
What albums have moved you this year, Alex?
What albums have moved me? So I know you didn't particularly like this album, but I really enjoyed listening to it, and I really loved Lord's album Solar Power. I thought it was really good, and I really enjoyed it, and so it's good. And then I've put Ola Garland's "Woman on the Internet." I've spoken about it in the show before. I think it's a great album, really personal, and a great insight into this artist.
One of our listeners, Emma, listened to that album because of your recommendation, and she absolutely adores it. So well done.
Oh, fantastic. Go Emma. Yes, because it's a good album. It's really great. And then I think this is more I've just realized I've got a lot of female artists.
Good.
Yes. And then Arlo Park's debut studio album, Collapsed in Sunbeams. Great album. It was released in January, and if you haven't listened to it, please listen to it. It is so good. And then I think another debut studio album. Another debut studio album by Joy Crooks called Skin. Amazing album. And then Marina, former Marina and the Diamonds, released Ancient Dreams in a Modern Land this year, and is for me a great album to listen to. And then Little Sims, Sometimes I Might Be an Introvert. I listened to it again this week, and it's so good. And it's weird how it's an album that I listened to it loads, and then I listened to it again now, and it's just changed somehow. It's a great album. I really like it. And then Crawler by Idols. I think that's a great release this year. We did a special last week on it, and
yes, we did.
I think it really listening to the special again. I think that album kind of really touched us in a way. And then at the top, I've got Billie Eilish, Happier Than Ever. Really like that album, and I think it's she did a great I don't know, it's just a great album. And I realized how young her and Phineas are, and I know, and I'm amazed, in awe, that these two young brother and sister are just creating this incredible music.
Yeah, I agree.
And so, because sometimes, I might have judged Phineas a little bit harshly on his own music. Sometimes I listen to it, but he's also a young. He's also like a very young artist finding his feet, and he's great. And then at top of my list is the album released by Dave. We're All Alone in This Together. Love this album. And so and this is my 10 albums of the year.
Strong list. I like it.
It was very hard though, because I think this year was also a very good year in music.
Yeah, I listened to a lot of music this year, including that Dave album, which I really like, but it's not in my top 10 because, well, it's not, but I really like it. Like, there was so much good music this year.
Yeah.
My top 10, I've got some crossover review, but also some other stuff. So in at number 10, the Ultra Vivid Lament, the Manic Street Preachers' newest
yeah.
album, which, I mean, I think I've seen them live more than any other band that I've seen, and I just really, really adore the Manic Street Preachers. You know, they had a number one single about how important libraries are. They're good. I like them, and this album went to number one in the UK charts, and the last time they did that was in 1998.
Amazing.
It's amazing to have two number one albums so far apart. It shows how kind of relevant they continue to be, and yeah, they're just great. So I love the Manic Street Preachers, and that album, The Ultra Vivid Lament, is great, and one of their quieter albums. The first track is called "It's Still Snowing in Sapporo," and it's just a beautiful, amazing this incredible song with lyrics about the first time that they toured in Japan and had Richie with them, and one of the lines is how can four become so strong? It's great. Anyway, I love it. In at number 9 is Happier Than Ever, the Billie Eilish album, which I agree is stunning, and like you, I sometimes sit back and think about the fact that she's like barely 20 years old, and how does she manage to make music that feels so sort of filled with life and talent, and yeah, she's pretty impressive. I love it. I love her. I love her music. It's great. In at number 8 is Comfort for Me, the new album from Australian pub rock punks Amel and the Sniffers, which their first album I didn't like at all. I thought it was sort of not really for me, and they weren't really on their radar, but I checked out their second album and it's amazing, so people should listen to it if you like kind of noisy, loud punk rock music. Check out Amel and the Sniffers, Comfort for Me. It's brilliant. Number 7, Pressure Machine, The Killers, their quietest and most introspective album ever, a concept album about the town that the Brandon Flowers grew up in Utah, and it's just a kind of a beautiful, wonderful album. I really like it. In number 6, Hey What, by noise rock legends Low, is an unexpected delight, almost like pop music but run through a blender. It's great. Number 5, a band that I love and hate in equal measure. I come to them and I listen to them a lot, and then I'll leave them alone for a while. But I think everyone probably has a band like that, right? That they sort of have this like love-hate relationship with, but it's The Myth of the Happily Ever After by Biffy Clyro. After putting out their album A Celebration of Endings last year that I wasn't really keen on, they then announced this follow-up album that sort of sprung from the same sessions, and I was like, well, I'm not going to like that. No, it's amazing. They've done it again. They've pulled it out of the bag. It's a really, really great, just fantastic rock album. In at number 4, the voice of his generation, Newcastle's Sam Fender, with his second album, 17 Going Under, which, if you haven't listened to it, is an absolutely stellar indie rock singer-songwriter album. Sam Fender is similar to Billie Eilish, actually. He's a very young man, and he writes about social issues. He's able to write about things that feel like he's lived a life, and he's not, and it's amazing. Sam Fender's kind of quite an incredible musician, I think, and he's going to continue hopefully to be pretty amazing in the future. But yeah, 17 Going Under is a really, really good album. Number 3, Prioritize Pleasure by Self Esteem, an album that is just a front to back incredible pop album. With amazing songs on it. I really love that album, Prioritize Pleasure. People should listen to it. Self-Esteem is great. Number 2, I Don't Live Here Anymore by The War on Drugs.
Yeah.
They are fantastic, just good stadium rock, brilliant music. And number 1, Crawler by Idols.
Oh, fantastic.
A monumental piece of work that I think is the best thing they've done, and they should continue for a long time, I hope. So yeah, that's my top 10 albums.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you. People should listen to all of those all of yours.
I think just to add, I think I've listened after we talked about Taylor Swift's Taylor's version. I think that's an honorable mention because I absolutely love that album, and listening to her song with Phoebe Bridgers, I cried.
Yeah, it's a good song. Yeah,
I
it's not
love
my
that
top 10
song.
because doesn't feel like it's a new album from this year,
No,
but I
no.
agree that it's amazing,
So
and I've
good.
listened to it a lot.
Oh,
So,
so good. Like the 10-minute version of All Too Well is really cool. Is it
Yeah,
about
yeah, it
Jake
is.
Gyllenhaal?
It's about, apparently, yeah. I mean, nobody's ever confirmed it, but apparently it's about Jake Gyllenhaal.
Aw.
Yeah, I know.
Who wouldn't miss Jake Gyllenhaal? Like I would be heartbroken if I broke up with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, but she really eviscerates him in those lyrics. She makes him sound like an awful piece of work. But
I guess
he hasn't.
when you have a love interest and you break up in not a very like good way, maybe it is, you do get angrier than you would.
Yeah, so casually cruel in the name of being honest. Oh, it's
So good.
it's
Well
a good.
done, Taylor.
She's
You
great.
are a great
similar
human.
similar to Billie Eilish. She was writing amazing music from such a young age, and she
Yeah.
continues to grow as a musician. She's good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to very quickly run through my top 10 video games of the year because you
Oh,
don't
yeah.
have any, and then we can get some listeners' lists. So, it's been an odd year for video games. Nothing to. I don't think anything that's going to be remembered in the future as an all-time classic has necessarily come out this year, but there's definitely been a lot of fun to be had with games like, in at number 10, Deathloop, the Groundhog Day assassin game. Number 9, Death's Door, an indie version of Dark Souls. Number 8, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, a ground-up remake of the first two Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games. A lot of fun. Number 7, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. The first true PS5 game, I think, that really showed what the PS5 was capable of. Like playing a Pixar movie, just wonderful. Number 6, Metroid Dread, the latest Metroid game, is a pitch perfect, sort of perfectly balanced Metroid style game, and I love it. Number 5, Forza Horizon 5, probably the most beautiful game I've played all year. Driving around street racing in Mexico and exploring, and it's a wonderful game. Number 4, It Takes Two. A co-op platformer where you play as a married couple who are going through difficult times in their relationship. It recently won Game of the Year at the Game Awards, and it deserved it because it's pretty incredible.
You spoke about it, didn't you? during
Yeah,
the
I
podcast?
definitely
Yeah.
did, yeah. In at number 3, a game I don't think I've talked about it on the podcast, but I've posted about it on Instagram. Life is Strange: True Colors. A wonderful sort of indie. Well, it's not an indie game because it's published by Square Enix, but it has the aesthetic of like indie music. And there's like a Phoebe Bridgers song in it, and it's you playing as this young woman who's trying to discover why her brother's been killed in this mining. It's great. It's a good game. Number 2, Hitman 3, which I have talked about a lot on the podcast earlier in the year. Absolutely adore that game. And number 1, Resident Evil Village, a really stellar entry in the Resident Evil franchise, and well done to them. So that's my favourite game of the year, Resident Evil Village.
Nice.
Bada boom, bada bing, bada bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, are we going to do some listener lists?
Yeah.
So in first, we've got listener Emma. Thank you so much for sending in your list. She's done a top 5 of her favourite things in different pop culture types, if that makes sense. It'll make sense once I start reading it out. So number 1, she's gone for her best album of the year, which is Ides of March by Miles Kennedy, Miles Kennedy is the lead singer of rock band Alter Bridge and sings with Slash when he does his solo stuff, and he has an amazing voice. And this is his second album, and Emma writes, "This hasn't been mentioned by you guys, and so it needs to be. It's a fantastic offering by a man who, in my view, is the best vocalist alive." He's definitely a very, very good vocalist. And I saw him live a few weeks ago, and with listener Emma, and it was pretty good. He puts on a good show, so well done to Miles Kennedy.
Amazing.
Yep. Best TV show, one we've both mentioned, WandaVision.
Yeah.
She writes, "My favourite of the Marvel shows on Disney Plus. I absolutely adore Wanda and everything around her. Fair play. It is pretty brilliant."
It is amazing. Yeah.
In at number 3, best film, she's gone for a Marvel movie that wasn't on either of our lists. Black Widow.
I haven't watched that. Yeah.
Yeah, she's written, "Given this week's offering, Marvel have really done themselves proud this year, but Black Widow is still my preference. With stellar performances from David Harbour and Culture Bucket favourite Florence Pugh, I absolutely adore every second of this film. I think it just by a fraction is better than Spider-Man, but don't ask me again tomorrow."
Oh. Cool.
And I also loved Black Widow. It's probably my second favorite Marvel movie of the year behind Spider-Man. Yeah, but yeah, good film. Number 4, she's gone for her best game of the year, and she's chosen Tetris Effect Connected, and she writes, a beautifully sculpted version of a classic game with transfixing soundtrack and stunning graphics. What more could anyone want? And agreed. Tetris Effect is brilliant. And number 5, she's gone for best podcast, and she's written Culture Bucket, obviously.
Of
And
course.
Yeah, so thank you very much. That's very kind of you to say so, Emma.
Thank you, Emma.
Yeah, cheers, Emma. Thank you for that list. All good picks, and yeah, keep on trucking. Cheers. Up next, we've got a list from listener Chris, who is similar to Emma, one of our kind of long-time listeners,
Yes.
and we appreciate his support, as we appreciate the support of everyone. And Chris writes, hi, Alex and George. Thought I'd put you two in alphabetical order. Not that Alex is my favourite, honestly. Top 5 albums from me in the order they're grabbing me when I write this. It changes weekly, and there are others that pop in and out of there. It's tough, this picking 5, isn't it? And I agree it is. And then, so Chris has sent us his top 5 albums of the year, and he is a pretty cool guy because I've only heard one of them.
Yeah, looking at Chris's Instagram, you go and see lots of bands that I don't even know. It's amazing though. Like,
Yeah,
really
good.
cool.
Yeah, no, it's impressive. So he starts with, I think somebody actually you've spoken about before, Jade Bird. Have you talked about Jade Bird?
Yes.
So
Great
number 5,
choice, Chris.
Jade Bird, Open Up the Heavens. He writes second album from the expat Jade, who was one of my 2020-21 tour casualties. Great album, and American Living is obviously suiting her. Looking forward to catching her live again at some point. So nice pick there.
Yes.
And then you've moved your camera, and I can't see you anymore.
Hi.
Hello, sorry.
Can you see me now?
In at yes, I can. In at number 4, he's gone with, I think it's pronounced Jen, or maybe Gen, Genn, Liminal. And he writes, a Maltese/English band whose lead singer is also the partner of the drummer from John. First album and yet another pre-order vinyl added to my collection, even though I don't have a player. Yet to see them live, but hopefully in 2020. I've also got a box full of vinyls in my cupboard, in my wardrobe, Chris, and I don't own a player, so that's absolutely fine. No judgment there at all. Number 3, Zuzu, Queensway Tunnel. And he's written, first album by one of the most modest people I've had the pleasure to meet. Saw her first at a festival back in 2018. And latest this week, and the progress her and her band have made is amazing. Hopefully big things will come for them soon. So that sounds pretty exciting. So definitely worth checking out Zuzu.
Yeah.
Number 2, he's put a band by an album that I've never listened to, but I see people talking about on the Idols Facebook group all the time. A band called John. And the album's called Nocturnal Adventures, and he's written second album by 2 great lads that I've seen twice this year, so it seems fitting that they go in the number 2 slot. Also, I think John have overtaken Idols in my t-shirt collection. Don't tell my wife. So
a t-shirt collector and a vinyl collector, a little bit like George.
Yeah. Well, one thing that is true of all Idols fans is that they love to buy t-shirts. So yeah. And then in at number 1, he's gone for Idols, Crawler. No surprise here, I'm sure. A different and very powerful album that's given me the new mantra of, in spite of it all, life is beautiful.
Yes. Great choices.
Definitely great choices. Thank you so much for that, Chris. And please do keep listening.
Thank you.
And presumably your wife doesn't listen, so please encourage her to also listen. That would be lovely.
Maybe not this episode, because she might get angry.
But not this one, because then she'll find out about the... Unless she does listen, in which case you've just outed yourself as having... Anyway, it's all fine. Don't worry about it. Up next, we've got a list from Matt, listener Matt, who has sent us in his top 10 films of the year. Thank you so much, Matt. He hasn't editorialised at all. He's just sent me the list, which is absolutely fine, so I'll run through them. In at number 10, he's gone for King Richard, which I've talked about how much that is a brilliant movie, so well done. Number 9, Eternals. Agreed, good choice.
Nice.
Number 8,
I like it.
Dune. Fantastic film. Number 7, he's gone for Nobody, the Bob Odenkirk action movie.
Oh, I really want to watch that one because you talked about it, and
It's a great
I
film.
need to
It
watch
must be streaming somewhere for you to see it soon,
Yeah.
I'm sure. It's a great movie. You should definitely check it out. Number 6, Malignant, which is great. Well done for picking that one, Matt. I love it. Number 5 is put Last Night in Soho, which didn't make my top 10. I know you were slightly more mixed on it as well, but a fun movie. Well, not a fun movie, but a movie. Number 4.
Yeah.
In at number 4, he's gone for Dear Evan Hansen, one of 2021's musical casualties. I haven't seen it, and it got terrible reviews. But
Yeah.
hey, if you enjoyed it, Matt, then you do you. Maybe I'll watch it one day. I'm sure it'll be great. It is a film where like a 28-year-old man plays a high school student.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I've got limited amount of original language films I can watch, and that was one of them.
Yeah.
And then I saw the main actor. I was like, but that's the guy from Pitch Perfect. So
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't think I would be able to detach the fact that he's a grown ass man playing a high school student.
The same is true of Tobey Maguire, I guess. In the original Spider-Man, he's like 25 playing a high school student. But,
but I feel like Tobey Maguire is like young looking.
Yeah, he is. Anyway, Dear Evan Hansen, that guy, I can't remember his name, which is so rude of me, but he won't listen, so it doesn't matter. The guy that in Dear Evan Hansen originated the role on Broadway when Dear Evan Hansen was first a Broadway musical. So Dear Evan Hansen defenders will tell you that he had to play the role because he originated the role and only he can do it, But equally, he's like 28. Anyway, it's bizarre. But
so his name is Ben Platt.
Ben Platt. And how old is Ben Platt? Do you have
28.
that information? 28 years old, Ben Platt.
But if it's good, I might give it a go,
Well, Matt says it's good.
So
and he's a professional guy. He knows what he's talking about.
Oh, then I'll give it a go.
Great. Maybe we should all give it a go. Give Dear Evan Hansen another shot.
I gave Spider-Man another shot, and I loved it.
Well, that's because it's. In at number 3, he's put Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Great.
Good film. Or he's just written Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Rings, but Shang-Chi and the Legend of the 10 Rings. Come on, Matt. Number 2, he's got People Just Do Nothing, Big in Japan, which wasn't in my top 10, but it was a very good time at the cinema this year.
Yeah, I need to watch that.
One. It's a fun movie.
Watch it.
Yeah, you should definitely check it out.
Yeah.
And number 1, he's put Cruella, which didn't make my top 10, but it was also a great time at the cinema this year. And fair play. It's a good choice. Emma Stone is great in it, so good on him. He told me that Spider-Man No Way Home would make the list, but he didn't update it, so I don't know where that would come, but I guess it would push King Richard off the list. So assume that that's in there somewhere.
Okay, and we also have a list from Dan, friend of the pod, who was on our video games episode and has sent us his list of his 5 favourite video games of 2021. So he starts off with what I think is an honourable mention in the Final Fantasy VII Remake DLC Intergrade that released this year, which wasn't a full game and I didn't play it, but I'm sure it's fantastic. Thank you. In at number 5, he's got Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, an incredible 3D platform that was on my list as well. Well done, Dan. In at number 4, he's got Deathloop, ranked very highly in my opinion, but a great game from a great team, so a good choice there. In at number 3, he's got Halo Infinite, the newest Halo game. I haven't played it yet, but I know that Dan is mad in love with Halo, so no surprise to see it there, and it is meant to be pretty good, especially the multiplayer. In at number 2, he's got Hitman 3, which Dan and I kind of back and forth on a lot earlier in the year, trying to beat each other's times on the levels, and it was one of my favourite gaming experiences of the year or ever, so I'm glad to see him giving some props to that. And in his number 1 spot, he's put Resident Evil 8 or Resident Evil Village, the latest game in the Resident Evil series, which was also my number 1 game of the year. So good taste there as well. Good work all around. Thanks for that list, Dan. Thank you.
Our next list, and the last list that I have access to, is from someone from on our Instagram, sent it to us. Jonesy, who is Gold Star Movie Reviews on Instagram, so go and check their page out. sent us their top 10 of the year. And they've gone for number 10, King Richard, which it's amazing how this movie is coming up again and again and again. It's so good. Number 9, Blue Bayou, which I haven't seen it because it's not showing near me, but it looks pretty good. It's a film that appears to have a very similar story. I don't know much about it, but it looks like it has a very similar story to what's the film? Minari, about a Korean family trying to make it in America. But I might be wrong about that. But that, from the trailer, the bit of the trailer I saw, that's what it looked like. But this one is set in New Orleans, or Louisiana at least, I think. It looks pretty good, Blue Bayou, but it's just not showing near me, so I can't see it. But I'm glad to see it's good. I will watch it at some point. Number 8, they've gone for Nobody. In at number 7, Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah, but you know,
if you
we
liked
don't
it,
agree
you
with
liked
that.
it.
But
Well,
you
yeah,
know.
but it's fine. Everyone, lots of people enjoyed that this year, and thank you for interacting with us and stuff. But number 6, Belfast, with a new movie from I think Kenneth Branagh's directed that film. I haven't seen it, but it's
I need to watch it. It looks amazing.
yeah. I think it's going to get talked about more as Oscars come around and stuff. So
Yeah.
Belfast. Number 5, a movie that didn't make my top 10, but I absolutely loved this year, and it's good to have a mention of it. The Last Duel.
Yes.
Ridley Scott's good film from 2021, starring Adam Driver and Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. And Jodie Comer, most importantly. Jodie Comer does stunning work in The Last Duel. And I hope she gets some Oscar recognition, at least a nomination, if not a win. But it's been such a flop that maybe it'll be kind of overlooked a little bit. But Jodie Comer doesn't deserve to be overlooked. Jodie Comer deserves to be put on a big pedestal and told how good she is. Number 4, Encanto, the latest Disney Animation Studios movie. I haven't seen it, but it looks pretty
really wanna
great.
watch it.
So yeah, I really want to see that. It's hitting Disney Plus in the UK at least on Christmas Eve, and maybe for you as well. So I'll be watching it then, I hope. In at number 3, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Strong choice. Number 2, a movie called 9 Days, which I hadn't heard of, but good. I haven't heard of it. I don't have much to say about it, but well done. And number 1, a strong pick, Dune.
Yes.
Yeah, which would, if not for the way that Spider-Man hooked my nostalgia, Dune would probably be my number 1 film of the year. So a good strong pick.
Okay, so I've got one. It's not a top. It's just I think it's a top film of one of our followers on Instagram, truly_cinephile, and they have put Eternals ! And I agree. I think it is a great Marvel film this year, and really underrated. I even loved Angelina Jolie in it, so I think that's great. Thank you for your contribution. And then I've got a contribution from Yuji, and he has put 3 Japanese series. One of them is called Alice in Borderland, which I've talked about before, and it's kind of a game where you survive. It's a bit like it's a kind of a concept like Squid Game, but not really. It's in a totally different kind of universe. So it's kind of like a survival game. Followers, which is a Japanese series about these Japanese celebrities, is really good fun series. Naked Director, Squid Game, and Sex Education. So
Nice.
Great.
Thank you very much,
list.
Yuji.
Thank you for all of your lists. Great choices. And good suggestions to watch and listen to.
Absolutely. Nice. Thank you so
Nice.
much, everyone. So to finish us off, I've just pulled together some albums and films that are due out next year so we can start to anticipate a little bit of what the next year might bring, which is exciting.
Exciting.
Yeah, so in terms of music coming in the next year, music tends to be announced closer to its release than films, so there's not a huge list, but indie folk band Big Thief, who are fantastic and should be listened to if you haven't heard of them, are releasing a double album in February called Dragon New War Mountain I Believe in You, which is a great name for an album. And they've put out, it's a 20-track album, so they've put out enough singles to basically make a 30-minute EP at this point, which you can find on Spotify, and they are great, so you should check that out. The Red Hot Chili Peppers are supposedly releasing a new album next year, which is notable due to John Frusciante being back in the band, so it's going to be their first Yep, it's their first album of original material with John Frusciante since like 2006's Stadium Arcadium double album, which wasn't their best work, but maybe the return of John Frusciante will have reignited a spark in the band, and we'll see. Kendrick Lamar should hopefully be releasing his next album in the next year. He started talking about the fact he's got an album coming, so that should come. Jack White has announced 2 albums coming out next year. Fear of the Dawn in April and Entering Heaven Alive in July. One of those is an introspective acoustic album. One of them is a heavier sort of rock-based album. He's released a couple of singles to that, which are quite good, so that'll be interesting. Paramore are supposedly finally back and going to put out a new album next year, which is going to be...
Oh, exciting.
Fascinating to see what they do. A dream pop band who I quite like called Beach House. Have you heard of Beach House?
No, I don't think so.
You might like Beach House. You should check them out. But they're releasing an album. They're releasing a double album in February called Once Twice Melody. But they've released it in a weird way where they've put out like a quarter of it as singles and then the next quarter of it as singles. So half of it's already been released. But the full album will have been released to streaming by February. And what I've heard of it so far, the half they've released so far, has been great. So Once Twice Melody by Beach House could be a highlight of next year, hopefully. Indie rock band from the UK, Block Party, are back with their first album in years.
Wow.
Yeah, Alpha Games is coming in April, and I think it's their first album since 2016.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Of Block Party?
Mm.
I've never been a massive fan, but people seem a little bit hyped about this new one, so who knows what will happen. Mitski, who is a sort of folk indie singer-songwriter, lives in a similar world to Phoebe Bridgers and people of that nature. She's releasing a new album called Laurel Hell in February, and I've always been sort of on the edge of getting into Mitski, so this might be the point where I do that, so that might be something we discuss in the new year. And then we've got people who haven't actually announced properly an album yet, but are expected to within the next year, hopefully, releasing albums, such as Arctic Monkeys, who have started announcing tour dates, so they should have something new. Brockhampton is apparently going to release a new album in the next year. The Weeknd has got something new coming. Avril Lavigne is releasing a new rock album. She's signed to Travis Barker's label, and she's already put out one song that sounds exactly like it could have come off the Skater Boy album. So it's fascinating to see Avril Lavigne back and doing the things she was doing at the start again. Frank Ocean might release a new album this year.
Maybe.
Who knows?
So.
Beyonce is probably going to release a new album this year, which is to be her first since Lemonade.
I love these adverbs of probability of.
Well, she said she's been in the studio for 18 months, so presumably within the next 12 she'll have an album ready. You'd think. She put out a single, and she put out a single to promote the King Richard movie. There's a new Beyonce song in that film. So people are assuming that that's from the sessions that are also going to spawn her new album. We'll see. SZA has got a new album coming out, and Cardi B is supposedly going to finally release her second album next year. And then we've got a run through of what the next year in movies might look like. Starting with the big Marvel ones, we've got 3 Marvel movies coming to us next year, Alex.
Ooh,
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
I'm so excited. So excited.
Directed by Sam Raimi, his return to comic book movies after his Spider-Man trilogy. So I'm unbelievably excited for that one.
Yeah.
Thor: Love and Thunder.
Also, I love Doctor Strange now. I don't know. I'm in love with him. I love him.
Yeah, he's pretty
so
great
funny.
in Spider-Man: No Way Home. So I'm really excited to see that new one. And it's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is going to feature Wanda, Scarlet Witch, and Loki. So
are we supposed to say that or not? Maybe
that's been announced.
Okay, fantastic.
That's known.
That's fine.
You should watch Loki before that Doctor Strange movie because he's going to be in. Yeah, he's going to be in it. Thor: Love and Thunder is coming in July, and that's exciting, partly because Taika Waititi is coming back to make it after making Ragnarok, which was so good, and Natalie Portman is coming back to take on the role of Thor, supposedly. We're going to see her be a superhero, which I just can't wait for. And then in November, a more unknown quantity. We'll see how it turns out. Hopefully it'll be brilliant. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is coming.
I'm excited.
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of
also
sadness. Sad. Yeah, and then apparently Letitia Wright's Shuri is going to take the helm as the new Black Panther. And she was
Okay.
great in the first movie, but Letitia
Yeah.
Wright, as a person, has got opinions I disagree with, so we'll see what happens. She's a big anti-COVID vaccine person.
Is she?
Yeah, she won't get vaccinated. And then, not Marvel movies, but we've got loads of films coming out. We've got the 355, which is almost looks like the female version of The Expendables, a sci-fi movie starring a great cast of actresses, which looks good, coming in January. Scream 5, the 5th movie in the Scream franchise, is coming in January.
Oh, yeah.
Serrano, a Serrano de Bergerac movie starring Peter Dinklage as Serrano, and it's a musical with the music written by The National, so I'm going to watch that. Morbius, Jared Leto's attempt to be a superhero, is coming as well. The less said about that, the better. Jackass Forever, the 4th Jackass movie, coming in February.
Jackass Forever.
Yep.
I love that.
The Black Phone, the new movie from Scott Derrickson, the director of the first Doctor Strange movie, he's returned to horror because he made famously now known as the scariest movie of all time, Sinister, starring Ethan Hawke, and this movie is also starring Ethan Hawke, and the early reviews for it are amazing, so I'm looking forward to The Black Phone. Moonfall, the director of Independence Day, has made a film about the moon falling into the earth, so that's definitely going to be something, starring Halle Berry. Ambulance, Michael Bay's return to action movies. Jake Gyllenhaal and Yahya Abdul-Mateen play two foster brothers who rob a bank and then steal an ambulance to escape, and somebody is in the ambulance dying and they have to decide how to help them. It looks mad, so we'll see what that's like. Uncharted, the video game adaptation starring Tom Holland as Nathan Drake, is coming in February as well. We've got The Batman, Robert Pattinson's outing as the Batman in March. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 hitting in April. I watched Sonic the Hedgehog 1 again last night, and that movie is so much better than it should be, and I can't wait to see Sonic the Hedgehog 2. The new Fantastic Beasts Harry Potter movie, The Secrets of Dumbledore, is hitting in April. They just put out the first trailer for that, and it looks like one of those. But this time, Mads Mikkelsen is coming to play Grindelwald, taking over the role of Johnny Depp. From Johnny Depp.
Maybe I'll watch it then.
He's been removed from the franchise for being a big old piece of poo. The movie that I'm most excited about next year, The Northman, the new film from your favourite and mine, Robert Eggers, is hitting. So we'll have to see if it's a more of a witch or more of a lighthouse. But I can't wait for it. Anya Taylor-Joy's in that one, so I mean, come on.
Well, I'll watch that because Anya's in it. I'll watch that. No
I can't remember the cast off the top of my head, but the cast is mad, and it includes Bjork. So I mean, The
amazing.
Northman is going to be something. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, a film in which Nicolas Cage is playing himself.
Oh my god, you showed me
coming out in April.
George showed me the trailer the other day, and I'm so excited about it.
That movie looks amazing, so much better than it should be. I can't wait to see it. Pablo Pascal looks so funny in it. Nicolas Cage looks more alive than he's looked in years. I cannot wait to see The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Legally Blonde 3 is hitting in May.
Ooh, exciting.
That's coming. We've also got the Bob's Burgers movie coming in May, which is apparently a musical. I'm pretty excited for that. I've decided I'm going to watch all of Bob's Burgers to get ready for that one.
I've started again, actually, watching it.
Oh, really? I'm going to start again today, I think, and because there's a few seasons I've not seen, so I'm really looking forward to getting through all of it. John Wick Chapter 4 is also coming out in May. So you're going to have to...
2 and 3.
Yeah, because maybe we'll have to do a big John Wick special for when that comes out. Jurassic World Dominion, who knows if that's going to be good or not, but that's coming in June. Nope, the new movie from Jordan Peele, his third film after Get Back and Us. No, Get Back after...
Get Back!
His new movie after Get Out and Us.
Yeah.
Nobody knows anything about it, but they've put out a poster that has a big cloud on it. Who knows? But I mean, it's a new Jordan Peele film, so I'm excited. Don't Worry Darling in September, Olivia Wilde's second directorial effort after Booksmart. Looks like a thriller set in the 50s. It stars Florence Pugh and Harry Styles as a married couple, and things start to go wrong. I mean, everything about that sentence makes me excited, so I'm into it.
Yeah.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, the follow-up to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and if you've seen the teaser trailer they put out for that, I cannot wait for that movie. That's coming in October. Halloween Ends, the final film in the new trilogy of Halloween movies, also coming in October. I can't wait to see what happens in that one. Hocus Pocus 2 is coming out in October, apparently.
Weird.
And then 2 films I'm not excited about, but they're going to be big and talked about, and I can't believe they're actually coming out, especially this one. December is going to see the release of Avatar 2.
Ugh. I haven't even watched number 1, so...
It's rubbish. And then also in December, we're going to be treated to the Super Mario Brothers movie, which I was so excited about until they announced that Chris Pratt was voicing Mario, and now I couldn't care less. So we'll see what happens there. And then very, very quickly, not films, but there are going to be some more Marvel TV shows coming out next year, which I'm excited about, including Miss Marvel, a character I adore in the comic books, and I can't wait to see how they bring her to the screen. Moon Knight, which is Marvel's version of Batman in a way, and that's going to star Oscar Isaac, so that should be good, I hope.
Perfect.
Yeah, I just said Moon Knight. She-Hulk, which is going to be a comedy starring Tatiana Maslany, who is in a show called Orphan Black, and she is amazing. She's such a great actress, and it's so exciting her to be joining the Marvel world, so I really hope She-Hulk's good. A cartoon series called I Am Groot, about Baby Groot, is apparently coming. Aww. And then at the end of the year, we're going to get the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, which is going to lead into the events of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 coming in 2023. So next year is packed. Packed. So packed. So please stick with Culture Bucket, because we'll be covering and sharing our thoughts on probably most of those films and albums and TV shows. So stick with us. Continue the journey, please. And it's going to be absolutely brilliant. It's so much fun.
Yes.
And there we go. That's our celebration of the year that was, and our look into the year that will be.
Yeah. What a great year, and what a great year is going to be.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for listening to us and joining us for this year, and I hope you stick with us for the following year. It's going to be fantastic. And join us again next time. We're going to be talking about, in our 58th episode, we'll be talking about our top 5 Steven Spielberg films and celebrating the career of a filmmaker that seems like it's got no end to it, and that can only be a good thing, because the man is a machine. So join us for that next time, and we can't wait to see you again, and enjoy your winter breaks, enjoy your Christmases, enjoy your holidays season, enjoy your New Year's, and however you choose to kind of mark the end of the year. Have a good one and enjoy it.
Have a great time.
Get rested, get ready for another year, and who knows what it'll bring. And to find us, please go to social media. Please look at the show notes for this episode and every other episode to find links to our social media channels. We're most active on Instagram, so go and find us there and join in the conversation. Thank you so much. Love you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Oh.